who Senzo was and how nothing of he was before they were in that relationship. Honestly, as a football person, I was offended. And looking at that as a woman to say, okay, fine, here's somebody that I loved, here's somebody that died in my arms. Like I'm saying, it can't be that easy, man, for me to just go out there and speak like that, to say, yeah, ushone so na so na so na so. And two things that came from me: either it was a promo for a reality
That was
show,
my first thought.
and secondly, nizongenzani.
Nkululeko on Cultr.
Welcome to another episode where anything goes. Thank you guys so much for subscribing, liking, and commenting on the content. We really, really, really appreciate those comments. And I am not flying solo this afternoon. I am flying with Nkululeko, my brother.
What's good?
I'm good. How's it?
I'm good, thank you.
We are a member down. Mr. T could not be with us for this
Shout out
episode.
to Tulo.
And yeah, we miss you, man, wherever you are.
Yeah, I think there's a family bereavement.
Yeah.
He's in the Free State, so he'll be back next week.
Absolutely.
If you're joining us for the first time, Tulo is a dreadlocked man that you see on the podcast.
Mr. Mutaung himself.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're outside because of load shedding, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's a South African experience.
So if it's not load shedding, it's the petrol issue. But we are in South Africa. What can we do?
Yeah.
We just gotta make the best of where we are and what we have. And it's been a rough week. It's been a hectic week. So where do we start? We start.
Yeah, there's
with,
been revelations left, right, and center.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's things that, sometimes we've seen them coming, and then certain things are just here because, there are other things that need to be blocked, that need to be backed up. But we're not going to start there. Let's just start right here at home.
Yeah.
Because we've got a situation, not really a situation, but one of our own has been trending for wrong reasons. I want you to go as deep as you can with regards to this one, because Nota, N to the O to the T to the A, that's how you refer to him, made headlines this week with his wife, rather. And then it was that interview that you did with him, and then he spoke about Mihlali, and subsequent to that, Twitter has been on a rampage with regards to the statements that were uttered by him and the wife coming out apologizing, telling us things that we did not know of, about their separation, about how things have been, about how he needs mental help, and she'll continue praying for him. And then he's also now came back, and he's been available, every chance he could get to speak out. What do you make of that situation?
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation. I spoke to Nota every single day from the moment that happened. It started with the Mihlali episode, and that trended. That episode is not about Mihlali.
Exactly. Please just take us back.
So
what was said?
So on Friday, we uploaded on Friday. Let me just look at the dates
here. It was the 1st of July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably 1st of, thank you. 1st of July,
Mm-hmm.
we uploaded an episode. We spoke about a lot of things, including black women, music, the summer awards and stuff like that. And I think Nota made a very strong, powerful point, which a lot of our audience agreed with.
Yeah.
One of the ways you check whether or not a message is gravitating to the audience, you look at the like-dislike ratio of the video. You look at the comment section, you see, okay, people understand what was being said. What we were talking about there was the culture of black women selling their bodies and giving the impression that to men out there, powerful men, that they are for sale. And we were talking about, we even mentioned the case of Karabo Mokoena.
Yeah.
The young man spent so much money on him that he felt that he felt that he's got possession or power over her to a point where he could kill her. And that's the point. It's a very, very simple point. He mentioned Mihlali. Of course, when you speak, you substantiate. He says, for example, Mihlali, I can buy her. And when I'm done buying her, I can kill her like a dog, because that's what happens. And it happened with the situation Yaga Andile, which we'll get to, no Sithelo. Whether or not we want to believe the story, whether it's factual or still allegations, at the end of the day, powerful men, if you don't want to work hard for yourself, work hard for your money, if you want to sell yourself to powerful men, when they are done with you or you want to leave them, you're putting your life at risk. And I think that was the tone or the message in that episode. you
Yeah.
know. And yeah, I like the fact that a lot of people understood it. Of course, on Twitter, a lot of people on the episode. I mean, I
Yes.
don't care that we trended. There were hundreds of thousands of views on that clip, but that doesn't translate to YouTube views. That video is still on 50,000 or 40 something thousand.
Yeah.
So I care for the YouTube audience. I don't care
Yes.
for the Twitter audience that only sees 60 seconds of a clip. Because if you come to the YouTube and you listen to the hour, 2 hours that we spoke, you will understand the context. And we've been proven right so many times. So many hashtags of women dying at the hands of wealthy, powerful black men. That was what that segment was about. It was never really about Mhlali. So it trended for a couple of days, and then I think on Sunday there was a guy who ambushed Nota on a Twitter Spaces with Musa Kaula.
Yes.
When you do a Twitter Spaces, I'm not on Twitter, but I understand the mechanism. When you're on Twitter Spaces, if you are invited as a speaker,
Yes.
you cannot block people.
Yeah.
That means you cannot control your own narrative. There was this guy who hit hard on Nota, and I said to him when I called him, I was like, "Shit, that was an ambush," because you have no ability to control that.
True.
When someone says that you're broke, you can't really counter that, because the way you counter that would be to reveal your bank statements, and you don't want to reveal your bank statements out there. When they say that you're living in this situation, like for me, I have a house. You guys know this.
Yes.
I have a house. But if someone were to say that I live in an apartment and I'm broke, the only way would be for me to reveal my circumstances so
Exactly.
that to prove them wrong. But you don't want to do that. You don't want to reveal your privacy to people. So it started there. And to me, when I analyzed that shit, it was coordinated.
Yeah.
The next morning, then Berita, there were
Who's
tweets.
Berita?
Berita is Nota's wife.
Yeah.
So she released a series of tweets where she alluded to the fact that she left Nota in January. They were separated from that point. There then were Twitter Spaces about the situation. I think Berita's sister or cousin spoke out. The former publicist or current publicist spoke out as well. Nota was there. At some point, he wasn't there on Musa Kaula's Twitter Spaces. And throughout this period, I'm talking to Nota. Yo, are you okay? Because he was retweeting some stuff about suicide and shit like that, and I got really, really concerned. But I think the long and short of it is that Nota, with all the work that he's doing, with all the things that he says on DJ Sbu, on Nkululeko Cultr, on Mac G, he creates a lot of enemies, and and even with his style of delivery,
True.
as well, creates a lot of enemies. And unfortunately, and I keep on saying this to a lot of my male guests, that sometimes I think black women become security risks, because those are the people that you as a powerful black man can be penetrated through, and it's possible with me as well. I was worried about that a few weeks ago when I was having a go with my wife as well about that when people can penetrate you to get through me as well. Now I say this not to invalidate Berita's side of the story, but I listen to the Twitter Spaces. I'm a sober person. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I listen. She alluded to abuse on Twitter, but on the Spaces where she has the opportunity to talk, I did not really get what were the specifics of the abuse. Did he hit you? Did he go to the police station? Or were the screenshots just like
What was the
Sithelo?
nature of that abuse?
Yeah, Sithelo has screenshots and stuff like that, which we'll get to as well. So that was that. But I told Nota, just for our viewers, I said let's not talk about it now, because I was, you see, the dilemma that I'm in is that the platform itself is a monetizable platform. We can get money through views. And I said to Nota specifically, I do not want to monetize your misery. And he was insisting that it's not misery. He knew that this was coming.
Yeah.
It's something that you said as well as you were
Yes.
analyzing Uguti, this was coming as well. So we don't know exactly what happened, but all we know is that Berita is not with Nota anymore.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, and I said this to him, if you remember when we had Makwa, I
Yes.
said Nota is very difficult to get along.
True.
If you're ever going to be in a relationship with Nota and be his wife, you cannot weaponize his style against him. He's like that.
Yeah.
He's like, I was on the phone with him and he was literally was booking for a golf thing during this whole period. I'm
Conversation.
constantly on the phone with him, and you can the way he interacts with that person. That's him. And Nota has spoken about the fact that when he was 4 years old, because he was such a genius, he was speaking strange, he was different, he was consuming information faster than other kids and adults. They took him to therapy and they force-fed him medication. I sympathize with that man ever since he told the story. He was very open that my mother didn't know what to do with me,
Yeah.
because I'm this kind of special kid and they're forcing medication on me type of thing. So I know when he's being almost obnoxious with security guards when I'm on the phone with him.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, calm down. What the fuck? Just talk to people normally. But I know like that's in his personality. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's easy for people to,
misinterpret who he is.
Yeah,
and what he's trying to
fall
say.
out with him. Because some
Yeah.
people can't take that. But I take him with all of his flaws. And I think that he's doing incredible work. Because ironically, 5 days or 3 days after the Mihlali thing, we then hear about Sithelo, which we'll talk to about at some point.
Yeah.
Ukuthi, this is exactly what we were talking about this powerful man. What was your interpretation of what happened throughout?
What I gathered, right, is the fact that, look, I've worked in a space where men, like in the football space, right, most men were attacked through women. I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was during the AFCON stage or prior to the World Cup, where one of the men actually had a sit down with him, who was a general manager once upon a time at the PSL, and he was forced out through a woman, and he had a sit down with me and explained to me how these things work. And he said the best way to get to us as men is through women, and that is how I lost my position there. And it's something that sat with me, and as soon as this thing came out, that's what I thought of. But then I'm thinking that this was a married couple.
Yeah.
In every married situation whereby we don't agree on things and then we go our separate ways, as women we tend to find things that we can poke you on, whether it's us or it's the system that is allowing us to come back to you. We always find a way to get back to you anyway. Looking at that, I thought that could have been the case whereby we've gone our separate ways. I need to say something because now everybody's attacking this guy. Well, I've not said my piece, and let me say something now. That's how I looked at the situation, because it all boils down to why now. The why now is you separated in Jan. You had ample time to say, guys, I'm no longer with this person. This is what happened. You let something of this magnitude come to the public and then only have your say. Why were you quiet all along?
Yeah, but
Because
we
you
must
could
be
have said
careful not to
something.
invalidate her, though. Like,
Yeah.
the why now is always very dangerous because she said in her tweets, which I don't believe, that her life is in danger. And I wanted her to expand more, but she
Yeah.
didn't expand. But the why we can't invalidate. She decided to come out at the time, which was I saw a sequence. Mina Shem, I'm sorry if yes, Nota is my friend, but I'm sorry. Like the weekend we're trending hundreds of thousands of tweets about the Mihlali thing. The Sunday there's an ambush on Nota on Twitter Spaces, and they can't control the narrative there. And then the Monday something happens, and it was so difficult for me to take sides. I had to observe, and upon observation, because of course the question will be with us as well, the podcast Uti, why are you aligning with this person and that person? For me, I listen to Berita speak, and I understand, and it took me to my own personal situation that I've never had a woman ever. Ever. But it's possible that the day I separate with my wife, she could hold a press conference if I was that big, for example, and whatever she said would be believed. But trust me, I've never. My mother was almost killed when I was 8, and I watched her almost dying when I was 8. She lost her front teeth. She was in hospital, and I thought she was dead. I've never had a woman ever, not even come close to punching or anything like that, But the day that I separate would be a big brouhaha about believing all victims, and I won't be able to say my piece. I think what was interesting with the Nota situation is that he inserted himself out. I was just observing that as well. He was not afraid to put himself out there, to tweet. Like, I would have taken some time out. That's why I even said to him, like, nah, let's not record, because he was like, nah, I'm cool.
Also, he wanted
I'm
to
mentally,
come through and like
not
say his
not
piece.
exactly, but it was showing to me that he's open to talking about it if we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I said, nah, I don't agree with that. I don't want to profit off your pain. We'll talk about it, because we talk maybe once or twice a month.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it when we get an opportunity to talk. I said to him, in 2 weeks' time, ideally, when all the emotions of this have died down. Because the other thing is that if I speak to him at precisely the time that has happened, I'm going to have to call Berita during.
Yes,
and
and also find
get
out from her side of the story.
in the middle of that episode. We're going to have to do that because it's such a fresh story. But yeah, that happened, man. And I think it got me thinking about women as a security risk to us as men. And it's not the same thing as saying that men are not abusive. Some men are abusive, man. Some men are are not righteous. Some men are not good for women, you know. But when you know you are a righteous man, you've provided shelter, you've helped your wife with this and that. Like Mina, I know I've done all of those things. I know that I've been working so that I earn as much as 2 salaries so that the other party doesn't have to work. But the day that anything breaks out, it will be like, I did this or I did that. But I know if anything, the only thing I've done is infidelity. And if for infidelity, depending on your morals and principles, some women will leave you, some women will stay, you know. But then that should be the punishment. Someone must leave you for infidelity, but it should never be a jamboree or a circus, a media circus, as if you hit her, as if you deprive her of food or money or shelter. No, as if you abused her mentally. No. But it's something that Nota will talk about the next time we speak. You know, we just obviously, I like the fact that the first thing you said to me was that let's talk about this, you know, and I appreciate that. It's something that we had to address, you know.
Seeing that he's like, you know, he's a regular here.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he's spoken so much. And the reason why he's trending is because you had a conversation with him on the channel, and then you spoke about why black women are going through what they're going through. And I mean, I think we spoke about this in Nkululeko when the lady from Eastern Cape who had just passed on, because I think we unpacked with Unamhla the circumstances that lead to those particular gender-based violence deaths actually coming about. And it's all related to the fact that there's a need, and there are those men that will actually fulfill that need in exchange for your soul. And we even spoke about how parents then come into fore to say, if a parent knows that this is what actually is going on, how do you help your child get out, or do you help your child get out? So I mean, it's just things that are there's a way that you guys are preaching it. Maybe it's not how people are perceiving the message, but the bottom line is that you're helping the next black child, not black woman for that matter, black girl, to go through that particular circumstance. Because once you go through that, and it's a vicious cycle that is continuously like taking place, and you guys are putting an end to it, whether it's favorable or not favorable, but you're getting the message out there.
I think unfortunately people are so conditioned to hear messages one way over the other. If it's aggressive, if it's tough love, I mean, if you are an Instagram model who sells their body, I mean, and this took me back to the conversation I had with Jackie Pamotse. She speaks out about it. That Instagram, even South African celebrities who are musicians, actresses, if she was talking about a lifestyle audit, that if you look at how much they earn from their art versus their lifestyle, you'll find that they're selling their bodies, you know, and that's why they get defecated on. If someone can shit on you, what is the next step? You become their animal, their toy, their thing.
Next thing you die.
At some point, they kill you. You know, that's like, it's such a simple message. But what I like as well, because I had to balance this out, I was pissed off with the trend and people twisting that message, and I was unhappy with Berita actually apologizing to Mihlali without understanding the full context. Even the one element I was unhappy with Slick Talk. I love Slick Talk, and he knows this. It was that he also mentioned that episode, and clearly he didn't listen to it. He didn't listen to.
So they just caught on those clips and not necessarily went through
what
the full
was being
episode
spoken about
to understand what's been going on. Because, like I said, there's women that have been trying in business, in life, in acting, in different spheres of careers, right? And they've not necessarily gotten a breakthrough, mainly because they would not give it up. And then those that have given it up have made those that are trying to work hard look like they're not doing anything, to a point that they've normalized the fact that if you're not doing it, then you're not going to go ahead. And it's okay. It's normal. This is what life has become. So it's instances like that whereby you catching a wake up to make people understand that this is what's going on. It could be your child, it could be your neighbor, it could be your sister, it could be anybody close to you that's going through the closed doors, not because they are not lucky, not because they're not working hard, but then there are those barriers that they need to break down, and this is where you guys are coming in to break them one day at a time. So, well, we'll see how everything goes. We'll have like that extended conversation with Nota, understanding what has transpired, and hopefully Berita will, be in the picture so that we also get,
that's one thing I'm trying to work out as well.
Sides of a story.
That's one thing I'm trying to work out. What I did pick up on the spaces was that they were not speaking.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
and I also picked it up from Nota as well. So it's like almost going to be very difficult for me to interrupt. If she's blocking Nota and she doesn't want to speak whenever he's present, it's going to be, obviously, it's going to almost be like abuse when I'm bringing her on
And
if she's
he's not
available
here.
and he's here as well. You know, because you can't, if you've blocked someone and then I invite her to an interview and that person you've blocked is here as well, it becomes a very difficult. How do you manage that as well?
True.
So maybe it's a possibility. Obviously, we have Nota as part of the team. You know, he's always welcome to tell the story here. But maybe at some point as well, we need to hear from Berita, because I had my questions as well with the stuff that she said, fearing for her life, and I was trying to listen to what is it. And I was like, okay, maybe fearing for her life because Nota offends so many powerful people that they could come for her.
True.
Maybe it means that. But then South Africa, because they are rooting for Nota's demise, is interpreting it as maybe he wants to kill her, or maybe he's going to kill her. You know, and she was crying about that Mihlali part as well. You know, and so it's a difficult one to balance. But when Nota is here, we'll talk about that
Definitely.
as well. Yeah.
We'll do that. Talking about crying and defensive and couples and all of those things. Khumalo recently had a conversation, right, around the Senzo Meyiwa, not really the case per se, but about the relationship. She had a lengthy chat with ENCA where she spoke about how her brand amplified who Senzo Meyiwa was. And to us as football fans, we looked at that and like, okay, maybe it's different spheres, it's different careers where we gravitate more towards football, and that's where we knew who Senzo Meyiwa was. But I'm thinking that he was the captain of the squad of the national
What did she
team.
say?
So, Khumalo said that nobody knew, these are her words, I'm quoting, nobody knew who Senzo Meyiwa was until he was attached to the Khumalo brand. And Senzo Khumalo dropped his relationship to be with me. He left his wife to be with me. And she spoke about the justice system in South Africa, how that is not working towards her favor, and how it's not really serving the purpose that it should be serving. So those are the three things I sort of took away from that interview. Firstly, that Senzo Meyiwa was a nobody before that relationship actually happened. And secondly, she speaks about how her life is in danger and how the justice system is continuously failing her. And
Didn't she say
thirdly,
something about, the family milking Senzo, something like that? I think she said something about Senzo's family over relying on him and not loving him really. They were using him for money. I think I saw something like that as well.
yeah, so there was a lot of things that were actually said. You look at the timing, because currently the trial is postponed up until September. And look, saying things on a public platform could be things that will be at a later point used against you. I'm not sure if how her lawyer advised her on that one.
Long ways out from rehab as well. And he's
Long
ready
is
to
also
talk.
out on rehab as well, and then he's ready to talk. But is that the right time? Because this case is like currently in trial.
Yeah.
Do we have to hear from them publicly, or do they have to wait for their day in court so that we can hear what actually transpired? Because one thing that has stood out for all of us is the fact that throughout, right, on her reality shows, on all the platforms that she's ever been granted to, she's never really spoken about how she wants justice to be served for Senzo. She's always protecting herself and saying, this is what must happen to me. What about the father of her child? What about the man that left his wife to be with her? What about the man that died in her arms? Your take on that?
Yeah. Yeah, the football world, now you belong to the football world as well. They were so pissed
Absolutely.
off. They were so pissed off. I think when I saw the statements, man, I thought, what is happening around Kelly? Long Ntwala is coming out, and I was reading that she's ready to speak. There's a season of her reality TV show
Coming up.
up.
Yeah.
Because as I'm watching YouTube, I saw it being advertised. So I linked it with that it's an opportunity for her to advertise her products as well.
Yeah.
You know, I think Kelly is, because when I listened to those statements, I thought Kelly is emboldened by the fact that Senzo Meyiwa died in 2014, but she's still out here. I've never believed that Kelly killed Senzo.
Okay.
I've never believed that, and I've said this to you guys when we're shooting content. I don't believe that she killed Senzo. But what I do believe, based on what we're hearing in the court proceedings, is that they know
What happened?
Yeah, but
to
they know what
Senzo?
happened, and also even longer being ready to speak. If intruders are being on trial now, right? Intruders are on trial now, 5 of them.
Yeah.
You know,
And there were 2 that went into the house.
yeah. So if that story is the official story that we need to believe, what else do you want to tell us when along with? Yeah, but I think the one other thing is black women taking liberties sometimes and getting away with stuff. I thought when I heard Kelly speak about Senzo that way, that since Senzo died in 2014, there's been no consequence to her. I don't know what you would interpret consequence.
Yep.
I don't know what I was asking myself that. What would I like to see happening to her? But I don't believe that she killed Senzo. Obviously, I don't believe that. But the fact that she's running her mouth about that man is that it's because she lives in a country where there's no consequence for black women who are famous saying shit about men who died. You know, obviously. Senzo Meyiwa was Bafana captain. He was in the African Cup of Nations, I think in the qualifiers. He played in the CAF Champions League to the final for Orlando Pirates. He played in the CAF Confederations Cup for Orlando Pirates. We knew, millions of us knew Senzo, who Senzo was. But it was not really about that statement for me. I observed that she's being full of shit because she lives in a country where you can, black men die 17 and 18,000 times per year every 12 months. 17 to 18,000 times black men kill each other. They're not killed by anyone else. We kill ourselves in that ritual that we partake in every year. And I think it's normal for black men to die. And that's why it's normal for that black woman of privilege and of some profile as well. She's a high-profile musician, reality TV star. She can say shit like that with no consequence. Nothing is going to happen to her. There are other countries where if you were saying stuff like that, there would be an extremist. A Zulu extremist or a football extremist would do something. Like, you would know that immediately your life is in danger. What was your take on it, though? What was your reaction? When did you observe other people reacting to it, and you like, are we overreacting? Because I didn't write anything about it, but I saw football people write about it. When you're observing people, did you feel like you wanted to talk about it? You were so agitated, or you were just looking at other people as well?
I was just looking at how, firstly, I looked at how she was speaking, right? Fine, I get the fact that it's 8 years later, right? But the bottom line is, with death, you don't get over death as quickly as possible, right? And when you constantly have to relive those moments, it can never be anything nice. It's always excruciating. But in every opportunity that she's had to speak on any platform, I've never seen the pain in her eyes. I've never seen the shame, the embarrassment, the pain
Even
of her.
even love.
You know what I'm saying? Like ubaba umtanakhe, let alone her ex-lover or anything like that. I'm yet to see that. So I was firstly observing the tone of her voice, how she was speaking about it. It's just how it's always been. There's nothing new, there's nothing different, even with the trial currently going on. So I was looking at that. I was looking at the arrogance of her speaking about who Senzo was and how nothing of he was before they were in that relationship. Honestly, as a football person, I was offended. and looking at that as a woman to say, okay, fine, here's somebody that I loved, here's somebody that died in my arms. Like I'm saying, it can't be that easy, man, for me to just go out there and speak like that, to say, yeah, ushone so na so na so na so. And 2 things that came from me: either it was a promo for a reality
That
show,
was my first thought.
and secondly, nizongenzani. Like, I'm still here, you know, nothing is ever going to happen to me. Nothing will ever happen to me. Like, you know, when you speak and you're protected, right? But the public has to think and know that your life is in danger. I mean, the whole stunt that she pulled Emma bodyguards, and why now advertise the fact that you've got bodyguards as well. So I'm looking at the series of events prior to that interview, and I'm looking at, like I said, the tone, like the arrogance that came from that tone to say, oh, well, my life is in danger. And she doesn't look scared. She doesn't look like she's hurt. She doesn't look like the father of her child. And she's constantly talking about what would I benefit from there, and not really reliving that traumatic experience for us to actually know how traumatic, how painful that was. So I looked at it, I'm like, okay, Maybe because the show is coming up. There's
Yeah.
different ways to
That
market
was my
things.
first instinct.
Any publicity is good publicity, and if it had to come in that way, so be it. The show is definitely going to get ratings because she keeps on referring to the fact that if you watch the show, I will be talking about this, I'll be talking about that. So obviously driving the traffic towards
It's like
the show.
Mzega telling you that he's gonna unmask himself at the next awards.
Exactly.
At the next
And then
summer
we're
awards.
all glued and watching that, and then nothing of that sort ever happens. So that's what I actually took away from
Can
there.
I ask you a
Yeah.
strange one? And this is something that I'm going through now as we enter the industry. And now you're part of the industry, you go to events. There are people who work for Kelly Khumalo's reality TV show. South Africa in bread is weird. There's constantly a need for us to pay bills and chase bread. But I would never interview Kelly. Not that she would want to be interviewed by me, but in the event that perhaps this thing gets big enough that it's in demand, I don't think I would ever want to interview Kelly. I would need persuasion, or I would have to use a member of my staff to say, here are the questions, you can ask her. Because at least she needs the platform to talk at that point if she ever needed to talk. But she's big enough, she has her own platforms, right? I asked this question because I've asked myself about Lady Zama. I love her music. But now I listen to it begrudgingly. It's like, I wouldn't want to interview her because of the Java situation. And I want people to be consequenced. And I'm looking at us in media and I'm asking myself, what do you do in that scenario as people who work in media now, or you work in media now? Is it easier to be seen, to be, like if Kelly Khumalo asked you to be her publicist because you are in marketing, or also work as part of a team, what is your morale telling you? What is your, because there's bread and there's principle. I have always just come to terms with the fact that mina, fuck bread, they are just things I don't want to do. But I know like 99% of the country would still want to work with her.
Sure. Because I always say that as public people, PR people, publicists and all of those things, you're almost like a lawyer.
Yeah.
Whereby you need to know the truth so that you redirect your story. So that if you're spinning anything, you know exactly what is it that you're spinning. So you got to be in a space whereby you are honest enough with the person that you're working with and you would know. But like consciously so, if I know the truth, will I keep it to myself? Will I allow bread to supersede my morals? Will I be principled over profitable? I honestly want to answer you, but I don't know if I'm ready to answer that now until I get to that bridge. I think it's only a bridge that once I get to that bridge, I'll be able to answer. Because right now, I really don't know. Because I don't know the truth. If I know what the truth is, then I can then say, you know what, I'm low on my reserves. It's load shedding. My lights are on in the car. I don't have anything and I need this money. Maybe I should go for it. But I wouldn't really know up until I get into that situation.
Yeah, I think that's the sad thing about South Africa and being black in this country is that you are constantly on the verge of choosing between living and making a choice that dehumanizes you. We work in these factories and we work in these call centers that dehumanizes us, that demean us with low wage, with supervisors that mistreat us and so on, horrible working conditions. But we're constantly caught between having to choose keeping the lights on or choosing to get ourselves fucked in the ass. And it's not nice. Like, it's not nice to be anally penetrated. I've never experienced it, but I've experienced it metaphorically in a call center where you feel like, shit, man, this thing is just killing me working here. But unfortunately, I have to be here. And I think this happens a lot. Maybe I'm trying to call out the hypocrisy of the media, of the entertainment industry, that there are people who would retweet and write about someone needing to be cancelled, like a Briggs. If you are DJ Clear, you cannot take a picture next to Briggs visiting him in prison. But those same people are friends with people who are sexual offenders convicted, with people who've been convicted of killing children. They are friends with them and they post pictures with them, and those people have shows on television and stuff like that.
Double standards.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We are in a country of double standards, unfortunately, whereby, like you're saying, certain people are favored and some people are not favored. I'm not sure whether it's luck. I really don't know how to quantify this one because that particular person that where there was murder involved, you come out of prison and you've served your time, you've had your punishment, and then you come out and you're glorified, you're a hero, you're going out there fixing people's relationships. Whereas if Briggs was to come out and try and do the same thing, would he be given the same opportunity or not? And this is, by the way, in the same South Africa, in the same particular platforms that we are granted in. So why favor the other and not the other one? What makes the other one superior than the other?
Yeah.
Because it's that question whereby, what's so special about this one and why not the other one?
Yeah, and just to clarify, I don't believe in cancel culture. I don't like it, because if you allow cancel culture to fester, there was a pressure for us from digital media or social media for us to be cancelled, but I didn't entertain that shit. I was like, whatever, fuck you. As long as we put out the content and our fans consume it, and that's it.
That's all.
I don't believe in cancel culture, but I think I believe in consistency. Like you're saying, other people will be granted the opportunity to rebuild their lives, and they should, but others will not be granted the same opportunity to rebuild their lives as they should. But anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
Andile Mpisane. Woo, that was yes, that was not shocking to me. Not
And
that
why
I'm
not? Why was that not shocking to you?
because it's consistent with the same thing that we're talking about, with men with money and women choosing to subjugate themselves to those people.
Yeah.
Those people will abuse it. But of course, maybe just lay out what are the allegations, what do we know, and what have we seen so far.
All right. So what we know is that Sithelo, who is a baby mama, got Andile Mpisane of 2 daughters, if I'm not mistaken, and they were in a relationship before he got married. Excuse me. So she came out and posted the fact that she was being abused by Andile Mpisane. She had screenshots. She also had recorded conversations between Yen and Andile, where Andile is like, I'll kill you, I'll fuck you up, I'll do whatever it is that I want to do to you because I can. And now she posted all of that, and that's also making waves, that also making rounds to say, okay, fine. So Andile Vele is this kind of a person. But what has stood out is the fact that people are saying that this is who Andile is, this is alleged, and nothing will ever happen to Andile because he's that protected. And what she was saying is the fact that I'm not going to be silenced. I am done being silenced because I've been silent for too long, and now everybody's talking about it.
What is the context of the relationship before we get into it? Just explain to people where is their relationship standing at this point?
Oh, at this point, she's just a baby mama to Andile Mpisane.
And how long ago were they dating? Over a year, over 2 years?
No, less than a year ago.
Okay.
Less than a year ago.
And
'cause
were they
that's when
also
the child was
featuring on
born.
a reality TV show? How do people know Sithelo?
Okay, Sithelo is a DJ. She's an Instagrammer.
Okay.
She's a influencer, DJ, Instagrammer. So that's how people know her. But then we know Andile Mpisane as Mamkize's son. Mamkize, the rich tycoon from KZN.
Yeah.
And then Andile is apparently also an artist.
He's a recording musician.
He's a recording musician as well. Yeah. So I've not really had a
Whose
chance
songs
to listen to.
people do not know.
I wanted to say, including myself, because I have no idea what song he sings.
He's
but
also a football player.
he's also a football chairman.
He's a
The
chairman
list
of
is
his own
endless.
club, and he
He's
plays
the captain
football
of his
sometimes.
own club. So that's who he is, and he's a baby daddy to Sithelo's 2 children.
And he's like 22, 23?
23, yeah.
Yeah, he's in his early
20s.
20s.
He's very,
Yeah, I
very
heard
early
those
20s.
voice notes. Of course, I don't know whether that voice is his, but yeah, I think South Africa is taking Sithelo's word for it because there are screenshots and it's very difficult to deal with that kind of a story because it involves abuse. Yeah, there were screenshots there of her with a bastard lip, and you can see that someone has hit her. She shared the story of miscarriage.
Yeah.
That you beat me so hard in front of people around you.
Yes, the family.
Your family, that I had a miscarriage at some point as well. So it links back to the same shit we talk about with powerful men, that they are going to kill you like a dog. Whether you guys like the language that we use or not, this is exactly where it leads to.
It's a reality.
I don't know.
What did you make of that?
That's the
because
thing.
now, it's alleged. Look, there's evidence that she's put out there that this is it, and I've been silent for too long, right? And the fact that you want to speak up, you want to create that awareness to say, this is where I've been. And it makes you wonder, right, that if this happens in front of family members that were silent,
Yeah, you see, the context of how that young nigga grew up is very interesting because he's not like you and me. You know, I'm not I'm Nkululeko, like I'm not speaking for him. I think that whatever the fuck he did, if he did it, is disgusting and you shouldn't do that. But I'm not surprised. Like I said, as you open this segment, I'm not surprised because it's the same shit we talk about with people in power. They're gonna treat you like things and slaves and toys. And if you resist, Bheki Cele, it's just it's suggesting to them that you can take that shit. You know, with Nhlanhla Mtwa. What we understood from the story is that she stayed for years. I don't know what it was 12. It was a long time though. Yeah. It was a long time that she stayed in that relationship. And unfortunately, she left in a coffin. Unfortunately, she left in a coffin. And that's the sad and scary part about it. And this is a message that we're trying to drive, in that we would rather have you speak out as and when things are happening. But I think what does happen in the situation, and I saw it when I was growing up as well with my mother having nothing, what happens in these scenarios is that she calculates, my mother would calculate that I don't have shelter, I don't have nearby family, so he's beat me up. Let's go to the nearest friend, but the nearest friend can only tolerate us for 2-3 days, and then we go back there. And we did it so many times. The same man that almost killed her when I was 8, we would go there frequently, go back frequently, go to another friend, leave to another. Because after a very severe beating with your eyes not seeing, that man was just trying to kill her. You know, your eyes not seeing and shit like that, but then you feel there's a need to leave, and you leave, but then you come back because of the shelter 2 days later because you don't have any close home or relative. I don't think that women should look at it as it being a shame leaving these situations. You are better off leaving before you die. You know.
Sithelo
What is
did not leave because she wanted to leave, right? Okay, I think a couple of weeks before Andile Mpisane's marriage was announced, a couple of weeks before, Andile had bought her a new car, which was like a new German car and all of those things. And then a couple of weeks later, his marriage was announced. It was on social media and all of those things.
Oh, I remember the buzz. Like it's like Sithelo was unaware that he's is getting married to another. The boyfriend is
getting married to another person.
Yeah,
right.
That's why they were blaming Mam Khoza, that Mam Khoza didn't like this one and chose the other one.
Exactly,
whatever.
And all of those things. And now you look at all of those things, and now the wife now has a child as well with Andile. And Sithelo it was reported, this is alleged, that she was kicked out and now she's no longer living the luxury life that she is. Now people are also saying Mhlambe, she's reaching out because she wants that life back. If she speaks and she's tarnishing the name Ekam Khize, they'll ask her what she wants, and then they'll get her what she wants, and then there'll no longer be like these accusations that are out there right now. That's what people are saying. That it's a two-sided sword.
I can see that theory, but I'm just trying to ask from a place of love, Uguti, to sisters, like nifuna kwenzeke ntoni, like what do you guys want to happen to you for you to know that you are going to die? Like there's no point, that there's no value to going back there. Don't be married to a lifestyle that you cannot afford for yourself. You know, I get it, like you drive in Lamborghinis and whatever the fuck, you know, I get it, and some women do it successfully, and some of them are fortunate enough to meet powerful men who are not genuine. Abusive. Yeah, they genuinely love them, but for the most part, bro, these niggas will kill you. Why would you want to go back there? You know what I'm saying? I'm puzzled, man. Like, I know, like, there's an allure to the lifestyle, but if you were living on 2,000 rands, bro, like, what makes you think that now that you've lived on 300,000 per month, you cannot go back there? You can rebuild. You can sell the stuff the positions that you were given.
Nkululeko, that comes from social media.
Yeah.
The standards that you have to uphold, because the society now looks at you as this figure. It's almost as if you've lost yourself. You've lost that belief that I can make it on 2,000 rands. So now you're thinking, Guti, I used to have a Lamborghini at my disposal. I used to have a Bentley at my disposal. And now I have to go back to either Ubering or no car at all. I have to get a lift from friends. You don't allow that situation to be. Because remember, like, I think the one thing we forget about life is that it's seasonal, right? Everything is seasonal. There's a season where you'll be high up there. There's a season where you have to be humbled again to rebuild yourself. But then we don't allow that situation to be because there's this particular standard that social media has designed for us. And we've been so consumed by that. We feel that if we do not live that lifestyle, that's it for us. So maybe that's where it's all coming from. Remember as well, there's the 2 children whereby if she was to take them to court for custody, who do you think is going to win? Mrs. Bega Imani.
Yeah, of course. Like,
You know.
the one who can afford to drag the process longer so that the
Will be
other
the
one is
one that
bankrupt, they will win. Yeah.
So Mhlambe now,
Effectively.
she's looking at
But
that
I think
and all of those things.
you
and
always
that's
have
why
to
people are saying now.
counter that with your need to live. Like, I think that's the reason why it's so important to have as many people, men and women, who are podcasting, because that's the only space where truth can be spoken, where we counter the narrative. We teach our young kids that you don't have to be married to that lifestyle. You can always rebuild. You know, some apartments cost 3,000 rands. You know, some apartments cost 3,000 rand. If you have skills, if you went to school and you have skills, you know, you can get a job that pays you 10, 20,000 rands per month. You know, and you can readjust to that life. It's not normal, man, to expect that your life will last forever as in opulence when it's not it's not from the fruits of your labor. It's like it relies on, if me and you, Nhlanhla, are in a relationship and you're a powerful woman, you're a multi-millionaire, it is stupid for me to think that that's going to last forever. I must always think that will last for as long as you allow me to be in your circle. You feel me? Like, for as long as you allow me to be in a circle, and you will do things to me that poke whether, you know, that test whether or not I still want to be here. You will mistreat me. You will do this. You will make me feel and understand that I rely on you.
Yes.
And that's just human nature. That's why human beings own slaves. And so your prestige as a person 200 years ago was, you were looked at as how big are you in our community based on how many slaves you had. You know, if you had 5, then it's like, I know, you're Khoza, like you're still struggling as a slave owner. If you have 500 slaves, you're a big shot, a slave owner. You know, because that's what people are. That's the tendency of human beings. But maybe just in closing in this topic, I don't know what's going to happen with that lady, because I sympathize with her. If those things happen to her, I understand as well the difficulty of reporting that as a crime. Because my instinct was and it's always this, that what happened? Did you report this? What happened when you reported it? And stuff like that.
And also closing down on the career.
Sure.
Because maybe that's
what was she doing again?
The frustration comes from there. The fact that she's a DJ and maybe she's not getting booked anymore. And every time maybe she tries to knock and say, guys, I'm available. Can I come play? And those things are not happening. Because it was things that were highlighted on those voice notes to say, I can close in your career as well. So maybe her speaking out comes from the fact that now you're messing with my bread and now my children and my self-worth, because I'm trying to rebuild myself. Maybe that's what she's trying to do. But then the opportunity to do so, and that's why she's speaking out on it, to say, guys, but like now you're fucking with my bread and I need to get back, I need to work, so stop this nonsense. Maybe that's where she's coming from, with the fact that now she's speaking out because she's been silent for too long. Maybe that's where she's coming from. She's trying to do that, go back and live on that 2,000 rands versus the 300,000, but she's not even being allowed.
Yeah.
By the powers that...
It's a shame, yeah. It's a shame if we were to believe everything that she's saying, and she's backing up with voice notes and pictures and images, we can't invalidate that. There is something there, and there's a reason why this story trended number 1 in South Africa for a very long time. On I think Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday it trended. Because it had screenshots, it had files you could see. And this is what I was saying about Berita's claims of death and fears for her life, that it's very difficult because we don't know, that we can't see anything. Like, you're not substantiating what exactly happened. Someone hit you on this day and this is what you did. You went to the police station or whatever the case is. With that lady, the power that family had, from what I'm reading, is that it was almost going to be very difficult for her to report the crime and stuff like that. So yeah, there you go then. We wait in anticipation to find out what's going to happen to her. I think sometimes there's a twist to these stories, that whilst you are in fear of your life because you are facing a powerful opponent, but maybe once you put it out there in the public, although I don't believe that and I don't agree with that shit, but if someone is clearly abusing you, you should go to the public. I don't believe that as to blackmail black men, but if you have receipts maybe there's a twist to it that you force that person not to harm you anymore. Because now South Africa knows that if anything happens to me,
It would be on you.
yeah, it will be on
Yeah.
that person. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, staying here.
SK Khoza uyayithanda gogo SK. Uyazithanda impondo SK Khoza.
Yeah, because he lost his job at some point, ne? Because of him with a sex tape. That was believed
Oh
to
yeah,
be him.
yeah.
So I guess maybe he took it from there and then he said, okay, let me take it a step
He
further.
loves pussy. It's crazy because even on one of the episodes with him and I think Brutus or something like that.
Yes.
Brutus is like amping him up. Yeah, well, and it's like he was building him up.
Yeah, I forgot. Like I used to watch that thing a long time ago. But yeah, it's Slachis, but they don't refer Epusha. He used
Yeah.
to say Epusha.
Okay.
And then that's when he would go and do that. Then he's out there, joined OnlyFans.
Oh yeah. That man's life is tragic comedy. It's tragic, but it's funny. It's not. I'm no longer finding it funny anymore because on a few weeks later he will come back and say he's a changed man. Because you remember that there was those video clips of him fighting hotel staff and petrol attendants, and he was always barefoot.
Yeah.
And of course, Gogo Maweni goes to Magji and owns his that man's
Misery.
mental illness. I did some work on him. I remember specifically I saw a clip where Gogo Maweni is saying, "Yeah, ngimloyile uZulu, the football player Siyabonga Zulu." You know, so I don't know, man. It's that nigga loves pussy, but I don't know who keeps on broadcasting him. You know, like I mean, Nami, I'm not an angel. I love pussy, but no one broadcasts it. Like I don't have people around me to broadcast all
as
of this shit.
sociable as he is, he's like in
No,
all
but
the social
South African
circles.
men love South African women. Nani niyasithanda says we engage in sexual intercourse. Siyapepana, but we don't film each other. Like there's nothing wrong. Like
Yeah, but remember he's in the public space and
Ah,
now
yeah.
it's a continuous thing from
yeah.
that sexual video, that sex video, the sex tape that came out, the barefoot that came out, Gogo Maweni statements, and now this. So, like, you know, builder up to what we don't know. But there's just that somebody that's just constantly following him and, you know, building him up. I don't know.
For
Look,
what?
I
Because
think
these
he's-
things become
I-
negative to him, though.
I missed it, but I know, is it a month or two ago, where he was having a conversation with UTT, who was friends Nosomizi, right? We was talking about, he was just checking up on people.
Titimba or Titipash or something.
Yeah, that guy. So he was talking about, he was checking up on men
Sure.
in particular, right? With regards to, we speak about this all the time.
Oh,
to
yes.
say, "Amadoda awanagwa," you know. So he was just being in the forefront to say, let me just check up on people and like have an Instagram live and exchange with this. OSK is going through the most. And I'm not sure how or who is trying to help him. That conversation was had where he spoke about he's just not brave enough to take his own life. He spoke about that to say, if I was brave enough, I would have taken my life a long time ago. Now you look at that and you look at the fact that subsequent to that conversation, there's still continuous comedy that takes after his misery. Why is nobody stepping up to say, after this conversation, I'm a psychologist, I'm from this and that and that and that, as men, help him out? Because that's what women do for each other, and that's why it looks like women are helping each other a lot. They're being out there, they're doing this and that
You
and
know
that
what?
and that.
As you're
With
saying
men.
that, Nhlanhla, as you're saying that, here's and I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
Here's what happens sometimes when men get some attention and some power, and this happens to women as well. Because I deal with celebrities as I'm trying to book interviews, and some of them I know. There are times when your success gets to your head that you piss off every positive person in your life. When I see how obnoxious SK is when he's drunk, I don't know him, but just looking at the evidence of some of his videos, I can imagine that he would be full of shit to the people that are helping him. And let's say I'm a positive influence to a lot of people, Nkululeko, right? Let's say I was in his circle. I am just waiting for 1, 2, 3 moments where he's being full of shit to me because I don't take shit from anyone, then I leave. You know, I think that sometimes with celebrated human beings, whether they are DJs, whether they are TV presenters, radio personalities, I know some radio personalities who do Metro FM, 5FM, Kaya FM. I know some of them who are complete assholes. Like, yo, lo mntu lo yinja. Like, you, Aibo, how can you treat people like that? Like, in my mind, I'm like, huh? what the fuck? But you greet and then you treat people decently, you pay them on time, but it doesn't exist in their world that they're supposed to treat people right, and that's why when the worst thing happens, the people that are around them are the people that are broadcasting their misery, and I'm not saying this is happening with SK. I'm saying it could be the case that the people he's pissed off so many positive people in his life. Because I don't want to believe in with theory because I don't believe in that God and ancestors and witchcraft, and I don't believe in that stuff. I think it's a scapegoat for us failing to understand what's happening to us as humanity or to people individually. I think that nigga, there's something wrong with him when he drinks alcohol, and there's something wrong with the people around him that are always there to broadcast it. Because the first one that we saw, I think the one that got him in trouble on Conor Ferguson's production, I don't know which film was he shooting.
Yeah, I think it was The Queen. Yeah.
Yes, I liked it. I was like, oh shit. I wish I was there. I thought of it like that. Little did I know that it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
You're chilling with 4 or 5 girls. It's beautiful. Those girls look nice. Their bodies look nice and stuff like that. Little did I know that this is going to be a sequence of behavior that's going to be destructive, and it's going to be problematic to his career as well. No one is going to want to hire him now.
Because of the people that he hangs around with. You're raising something very valid. I've witnessed this growing up because I used to hang around soccer players a lot growing up, and we even had a name for people that were around soccer players, whereby there's a junior Kanye, and then junior Kanye besibabizabo kapela, right? So this guy would be washing amateke junior, buying juniors drinks, getting girls for junior. The ice boys. So back then we used to call them abo kapela, and it's the same thing that abo SK find themselves in, but abo SK find themselves around wealthy or guys that banemali kodwa bakwazi ukuzikhulumela, and hanging around a person like SK makes them have that public stature that they want, that they've never really had before. And then those are the people that are bringing him down, because there's nothing else that they stand on publicly except for the fact that I'm hanging out with this guy. So it's guys like that that would bring him down. Sometimes it's not guys without money, sometimes it's guys with money, but abakwazi ukuzikhulumela. They use these guys. They don't have anything to be celebrated, but they use guys like SK to say, you know what, Mfana, drive my car. Simbonu SK with a Lambo, with a range, with this, with that. And then we're thinking, oh, he's made it. But then the same guy is the same guy that will tell us publicly, or will take that video to say, look at him, being that particular person that would have filmed him. So you're right to say, let's guard the people that we hang around with. But then SK, everybody ukbaila is kelem, and it's not everybody. It's not your ordinary ice boys that are doing that. It's guys with money. It's guys that are in business. And now you're thinking, it's okay, I've got this particular relevance in this space, so let me push myself. Now these guys can't. These are the guys that are actually killing.
But it goes back, Nhlanhla, to what I'm saying. You are driving out all the positive influences in your life, so you are left with assholes. Because now we asshole.
Yes.
Now it's just because Khumalo is filming with us that I feel like I must do anything to piss her off, to make her feel like she's a fucking slave. No, you can't do that. You can't drive out people from your life. We agree that we're gonna pay each other 10,000 in exchange for the work and the time, and I give her 5,000, for example, or I give her 2.5, and I keep quiet because I know like the next person would want to take a job. I think that there's a problem with these guys. It's not one gender alone, like male or female. South African celebrities have a serious problem. If you look at them and the people around them, you will see that they are interchanging. Look at the next time you have a super celebrity like Kelly or whoever. For example, I'm not even trying to be negative towards Kelly. Look at how many people are around her, like umuntu omsiza on social media, like the small group of interns that are around her. Look at how many times that changes, not Kelly alone. Every 3 months have an audit of how many times are young kids around this big celebrity, that big celebrity, and so on. I think that they are so bad at dealing with human beings because they are in such demand that they have a god complex. They think that they are gods to these people, and I think that becomes a problem. And you then eliminate all, because good people are sent to you to guide you, to be your guardian angels, to help you, to counsel you, to tell you, Nkululeko, this is not a good idea. Yes? And if you don't listen to them, they will fall along the way, and you will be left with assholes who think it's a good idea to film you all the time. And the one that the video that she was muffing a woman on, do you think that's content or what? Because there's OnlyFans as well. Waking up on Wednesday and people saying SK Khoza is muffing a woman, blah,
He's
blah, blah,
joined
blah.
OnlyFans.
Aye.
Yeah, man. Look, I still think.
Do you think that's content for his OnlyFans?
Yeah, I think it's content for his OnlyFans if he's joined that. But equally so, I'm pleading to Amachita out there, to say SK is one of your own. Ne? He's going through the most. It's visible. It's clear for everybody to see. And whether that's his way of reaching out and saying, guys, Ntingusizo, whether he's going to be an asshole or not, I would like the chance to say I tried and I failed. But let us not assume that people have tried and people have failed.
Yeah.
Let us hear it from somebody that said, you know what, guys, I tried to help this guy. I did A, B, C, D. We'll not judge that person, but we'll appreciate the fact that you reached out, you tried to help, because this is how our men are falling. This is how our boy children are going to die, because Nyambona Muntu to saying like this person is in like deep trouble. They will not speak it out. They will act as weirdly as possible. We'll have our opinions on the buy sides, and the next thing you know, this person is no more. They've taken their lives because Tina, we were laughing about it, we're talking about it, but we're not acting on it. So this is what I would like to close on with regards to SK.
Yeah.
So the guy is in deep trouble. He's crying out for help, and whoever that can, at least fail while you would have tried.
Yeah, I hate assholes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I know in order for you to be an influential person, from observation, I realize a lot of people think that there must be assholes. And influential people would do things to change the world. Like Mark Zuckerberg was an asshole to his initial partners and founders on Facebook, giving some of them smaller shares and blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
and taking from some of them in terms of ideas. And a lot of other people as well were influential. They are assholes. But I don't know why. You don't have to be an asshole when you want to do work that transcend your country, Yeah. Anyways, not to dilute your message. I do
Yeah.
agree with you as well. But, bruh, people can't stand assholes. Like, they can't be around people who are full of shit. Now, as a celebrity, you see celebrities every week. You are at events with celebrities. They're Sokole is a celebrity. I book them. I talk. I was talking to someone this morning to arrange an interview. And there were asshole signals there. There were asshole signals. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm trying to arrange this, but I'm not that desperate. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm building a platform, but I'm not that desperate.
Yeah.
Relax. Like, I'm dope. Like, I'm straight. I have a lot of other people I can speak to. Yeah, but celebrities are such like, because they have so many people who worship them, they are full of shit. And that's why when they are sickly, you find that they are mostly alone, except, of course, they will be surrounded by the people that they were good to. But you have to be good to anyone until they prove you wrong.
Yep.
But anyways, that's that then. Maybe just in closing, because of load shedding.
Load shedding, the rise of petrol again, which was rose by 2 rands a litre again. And, the load shedding stage
Did
6.
a bird shit on me?
Yeah.
I think that's
It would
interesting.
have been a good sign.
Yes or no?
Yes, it did.
That's interesting. Shooting content outside.
Yeah. So
Okay.
those that believe will tell us what that means. It means something. I don't know what. So load shedding stage 6. There's been ongoing negotiations with Andile Berita, with the ESCOM staff members, as well as the unions. Ewan Jim has been instrumental in the.
I think they've agreed to 7%.
Yeah, they've agreed to 7%, and I think there's immediate funds that will be released and dispersed to the workers. But it does not mean that the stage 6 is going to go away, not anytime soon, because now they still have to go back with maintenance and all of those things. I wish we had more time to unpack this, but then it looks like the load shedding, the stage 4, the ESCOM saga, it's all leading to the privatization of the ESCOM.
Which we spoke about last time.
Which we spoke about. So it's just definitely heading that direction. But also the fact that if Andile Berita was Nkululeko Nhlanhla, you would have long gone in that job. You would not be given so much opportunity to speak, to engage, and to, try and come up with all these different theories all the time. Like, you would have long been gone, because our own people would have said, what is he still doing there? Why is he still there? Why is his head not chopped? But then, hey, he's Andile Berita.
Maybe it's because my name to black people would be easy to pronounce.
Oh,
I'm being cynical. I know what you're saying.
And then with petrol going up, my take of the whole thing, Ipala Pala game farm, was coming on strong. It was trending almost every day. And up until the load shedding stage 6 and the petrol talking points is all that we are talking about. That thing has sort of now, we're sort of being silent. So we sort of now made to forget that there is that particular issue that is absolutely taking place.
Do you know, there's the other thing as well I've thought of in the last 3 weeks, situation being bad and escalating, is that if this was 2024, this was not going to happen.
Exactly.
If it was an election year and it happened in 2019, 3-4 months before the elections, we had no load shedding.
None whatsoever.
That was why I was fantasizing with the idea of early elections. What if we declared early elections? That means automatically load shedding would go away. They would find a way. There are infrastructural issues at ESCOM that needs to be dealt with, and that's why we have load shedding. But they would find a shortcut to not having load shedding if this was an election year. It happened in 2019. It will continue to happen in 2024 as well. 4 months leading up to the elections, they will not switch off the lights unless the ruling class, the capitalists that are running this country, have worked out they don't want the ANC anymore. Then they will force the ANC's hand. They will just do load shedding. They will do anything in their power then to make the ANC look bad, because obviously ANC is shooting themselves in the foot anyways with everything that they're running at the moment. But I thought it would have been interesting if we were in 2024. We were not going to have these problems.
Last 2 things from my end. Bheki Cele had an exchange with someone. Is it from your province, your home province?
Yes, the Western Cape.
What happened there? I actually did not catch
the
whole clip.
I don't know whether he's an activist or a journalist, but I think that he used very provocative language, although he was addressing real issues about people dying in Khayelitsha en mass. Because in Khayelitsha and in Nyanga, where I come from, and all of these townships, there are regular mass murders. You would feel like you are in Iraq, actually, or Afghanistan. Or Somalia, where there's been a war for the past 30 years. So there are times regularly where sometimes it stems from gang violence, sometimes it stems from people. So there's Nina Niti Komakuleng, Tina City Emma Somalian, the Somalians, right? Those tuck shops. There's been a kind of crime syndicate that's developed as a result of that. So people are extorting the Somalians in exchange for protection. So if you don't want us to rob you every single week and shoot at you every single week, give us 10,000. They give the 10,000.
Protection fees.
The protection fee, exactly.
Protection fee,
exactly. Thank you. Protection fee. And then, of course, another gang finds out that this gang is taking protection fee from our territory and shit like that. So regularly in South Africa, and I actually had a matric classmate who was involved in this, and he had to flee Cape Town. And he was a good kid, actually, in 1992. He was born in 1992. He was a good kid, but he became a demonic asshole who kills people. And a lot of people that I went to school with are like that, actually. They kill people. But they regularly, there's like 21 people dead. Next week, 10 people dead. Because, of course, as black people, we hang out in the same shebeens in numbers. It's like that's what I was trying to explain last week about the lives of people in the townships.
Yes.
They shoot everyone on site and then they leave. Yeah, but so I think he was being aggressively asked.
Sorry to just that they're not necessarily looking for a particular person. They're just trying to prove a point.
At times they are looking for a particular person, but I think they're influenced a lot by mafia movies. They just kill. Sometimes it's just leaving a strong message to your opponents. As we are here now, there's 3 of us here. If there were 5 of us and people wanted to kill me, in the process they could kill you as well, because they can't take a chance that leaving you alive, you're not going to testify against them or you shoot them whilst they're still here as well. So there's been these mass murders. It's like you are in a war zone in Cape Town. And then, of course, there's the coloured community gang violence. So I think he was being confronted with those, Bheki Cele, and then, of course, he went off. Now, it was a white person who asked that question, and I think that's the negative twist to it. Cape Town is that's why he went to the Robben Island apartheid thing. He may not have articulated himself well. So white people need to humble themselves when they deal with these kind of issues. It is their creation. The township is their creation. The spatial planning of Cape Town or any other city in South Africa is that the township is an hour away from the city, right? From the CBD. And the allocation of resources to the township is deliberately against black people. That's why in Nyanga we have one police station for 450,000 people. So that means if 20,000 people went to report a crime at the same time, the police would not be able to deal with that systematically. Even if 500 people were to go and report a crime at the same time, there would be at that police station at least 20 police, not 500 police, or at least 30 police. So that is systematic. It was deliberate by the apartheid government to create that. And there are more shippings than there are schools. Now, when white people, whether they're journalists or activists or NPOs, they need to be very careful when they deal with that, because that still is their problem. It's their creation, the creation of their forefathers. In order for them to exist and live in comfort, a township had to be created so that black people had to be put in those spaces and be crammed in those spaces. So I think that's where it was coming from. Of course, Bheki Cele is emotional. He could have articulated it better and so on and so forth. But I'm trying to provide context.
Yeah.
And this is how I would deal with that situation. We go to, look, guys, policing is inadequate in the townships. You can, where we are now, they've come with one of our neighbors here. They've come within 5 minutes. That was shocking for me, because we have security companies as well that came within 5 minutes. I've never seen that. In the township, it takes an hour or 2 or 3 for them to arrive at the crime scene. So, there is that exists, that is racially motivated or motivated by class, who has access to better spaces, better suburbs, and better policing, for example. So in as much as we can confront Bheki Cele with that, and his policing has failed, of course, his portfolio has failed, because continuously there are 20,000 murders every year in South Africa, and how many people get arrested? The percentage of people that get arrested for those murders, people being held accountable, so you can hold Bheki Cele accountable. But I think maybe if it was asked by a colored or a black journalist, then it would sound better. The aggression and the arrogance that the questions were being asked, it forgets why we are there, forgets why Cape Town is like that. Because the spaces are deliberately designed so that black people can fucking kill themselves, that type of thing. I'm being deep, but I think I needed just to explain it that way.
Break it down for us. And then lastly, what was the other thing that actually caught our attention that took place this week? Oh, the 21 Enyobeni children were
they were buried,
this week. And the number one statesman, the number one citizen of this country, went and provided a eulogy there. How did you get to watch?
Was it the president?
Yeah, it was the president.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't. I saw
I didn't catch that because
screenshots.
I was like on the way,
Yeah.
and I was traveling
Was he
during
speaking?
that time. Yeah, he went and he spoke.
Oh,
at that
okay.
funeral. Not really caught much of what he was saying, but it's just something sad to witness.
Yeah.
And apparently the owners of Enyobeni are nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
But of course the tavern is closed.
Yeah,
down.
it was always going to be
Bheki
closed.
Cele was there. Minister Lindiwe Sisulu Sasa. She was also there as well. A couple of ministers were in attendance, but the actual number one citizen said he was there. Heads are going to be rolling. Isn't it the same thing that we see all the time when there's a tragic like that one, whereby they will all go out in numbers. But in a month's time, if you were to ask for your feedback or what has happened in the last month, I don't think we'll get any response.
Yeah, I think the fact that we always knew, and we spoke about it last time, that the tavern was going to be closed. I think the tragedy is seeing, because I saw the obituaries of those kids and the pictures. The tragedy is seeing that some of these kids are 2004, some of these kids are 2007. 2004 is 12. No. 2004, 2014. That's 2004, 2014, and then 2024. It's 18. They are 18 years old. 2004. And then Omnio got 2007. They are way younger, 15 years old. So it was tragic. We are burying 21 kids. Some of them 2004, some of them 2008, some of them 2007. It's weird. It's weird. It's a symbolic ritual that should serve to remind us that this shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. And I know people were provoked by what I was saying last time, as I went hard on the parents, because I come from there. It's like I'm not trying to trivialize black people. I don't want you guys to have an idea that it's rosy in the township. Black people black parents.
A different side of the township, because the dynamics are completely different. Because in the township that I come from, there's these lies that can be told because of whatever that's available and how parents will then transport children. But then you spoke about how where you come from, things are completely different.
Yeah, it's bad.
Whereby 13-year-olds, like you say, 12-year-old, they'll go out there. And then this side, because maybe it's more, I don't know. But you gave us both sides of the township dynamics. And Yeah, that's how we saw things, and the children were buried. And your favorite artist has been jailed for 30 years.
Oh yeah, the R&B. Hey,
The
madoda.
R&R.
Hey, R&B
Yeah.
wabanjwa madoda. Hey, wabanjwa ke. Hey, R&B madoda wabanjwa mntanami.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always coming. It was always coming. I don't want to even make a deep point because
Yeah.
this laptop is going to die in the next 5 minutes. Ubanje R&B madoda.
Yeah.
Uyawucula ejele is going to sing there in prison. But I think there are because people were making a comparison between Ghislaine Maxwell, who was providing I forgot this nigga's name now. Jeffrey Epstein and Powerful Man with young white girls, and I think she got 20 years. Who Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in jail. Of course, white people don't want to believe that he killed himself.
Yeah.
But it was gonna face the music anyways. So they were just comparing her, because with R. Kelly, a lot of them were fans. Like some of the girls that were on the R. Kelly documentary on Netflix. They were saying that they met him at a mall. They heard Uti, he was performing there, he was there. They would go there. Some of them were fans. They were not forcefully taken, but of course, still wrong. Like some of those kids are underage. I think R. Kelly gets a little bit more complicated when he has maybe 5 to 10 women. If we were to believe the stories that are being told by the ladies, that he has 5 to 10 women at a time in the same building, and whenever he gets up and leaves the room, those ladies have to get up. You know, it was perverse, man. It's almost like slavery. But he is the R&B. He's a god of music. That will never be taken away from him. But yeah, that was bullshit. What it did. You can engage in consensual sex with women, sometimes multiple women, because we fantasize about that shit as men. We love women. But yeah, like to have almost like a cult or a group of women, maybe it's problematic. It's not maybe when it's underage. It's definitely problematic. But maybe if women participate actively in being around R. Kelly because they like him, they admire him. It brings about an interesting question with you. What's the problem? The problem, of course, is underage girls. That's definitely, and we cannot dispute that.
Yeah.
But the you cannot. I don't think you can really confine abantu abadala like 22-year-olds, and you're not imprisoning them. They're not saying you imprisoned them. They're just saying that you put them in a position where they had to worship you when you were there, and they were coming from other cities, so it may have been difficult for them to escape, blah blah blah. But it's not necessarily confinement. I think there were opportunities for others to leave, and others left. Some of these girls left. Some of the women are like 32, 33. They tell stories about his sexual appetites and shit like that. Yeah, but of course, when it comes to kids, it's a definite no-no.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're
losing sunlight.
Yeah, that we have for you this week. We'll definitely be back next week, serving you more of what is going on around the world, where anything goes. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, and staying throughout the conversation. We will be back next week. We'll serve you what you guys are asking us to do, and thank you so much for giving us your time and honoring us with all these beautiful conversations that we are giving to you. See you again next week. Remember, from me, Nhlanhla Speak, your Tswana queen with the Zulu name, I remind you, never ever touch anything with half your heart. Until we see you guys again next week, it's a wrap.
Nkululeko